My name is Erez Shek, and this is the Shek Check. Bum bum! Bum bum! Lame. That was so lame. Do you remember how in school we would get different kinds of textbooks? You know, history, math, science, English. So many frickin' books. And these textbooks would basically give us a, base definition of things in the world, in life, in everything. I mean, take anatomy, for instance. Clavicle, clavicle, clavicle. Humerus, humerus, humerus. I really wish I remembered how to pronounce that word. Phalanges, 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 phalanges. Sounds so dirty. But we also learned that our phalanges, for instance, are different from another person's phalanges in maybe density or exact shaping or length. I would say that my phalanges are longer than the current president of the United States. What's my point, you're asking, right? I know I have a point. When I was 21, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Oh my god, worst segue ever. I'm getting somewhere. I swear I'm getting somewhere with this. When I was diagnosed, I wanted to learn as much as possible about the disease. I wanted to learn why I was possibly diagnosed with this, or why I was diagnosed with this. And I wanted to know what the symptoms were, what I was to expect, because I didn't want to have an illness I knew nothing about. And I know there's a lot of people out there who get diagnosed with a mental illness, and the first thing they do is ignore it, because if you ignore it, it doesn't really exist. So not true, like so not true. I remember looking at all these books, all these textbooks, essentially, that told me everything there was to know about bipolar disorder. What it was, the different types, even exploring the type of bipolar that I was, and the symptoms, and the habits, and everything that I was probably going to have to deal with. And I remember reading these books that were telling me about my illness, and saying to myself that, oh my God, I am bipolar. No. I am bipolar. No. You are Erez. And bipolar disorder is living inside you. The people around me also decided to read up on bipolar and understand it. Understand the symptoms, understand what they were to expect in some ways. And I learned that their reaction was not at all far from my initial reaction. He's bipolar. He is bipolar. No. My name is Erez. Erez. E-R-E-Z. Yeah. He is bipolar. He is bipolar. E-R-E-Z. There's like an R in common, but it's not. No, I'm not. I am not bipolar. I am Erez. Can't really fault them, though, because I was doing the same thing. So everything about me started to disappear, because everything became the bipolar to some people. And then over time, to me. It's a loss of identity. of who you are, because all your quirks, your personality traits, your choices, your opinions, your passion, they're not you anymore. They're the bipolar. I am not bipolar. I am Erez. I have bipolar disorder. I am not my disease. I am not a textbook definition. Nobody is. Those books about bipolar disorder, and there are so many of them, and they are a wealth of knowledge, and they are so important to have. But if you're diagnosed with bipolar disorder, or you have someone in your life that was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, don't forget who you are, because before that disease existed in you, before you were diagnosed with it, you were you. Don't let a diagnosis take that away from you. And do not let other people who don't get that you are not a textbook definition get in the way of that. First-hand knowledge tells me that that kind of thinking, the kind of thinking that everything you do or say is the bipolar, it's lethal. It's lethal. So if you are bipolar, you go out there, you got diagnosed, you go out there and you pick up every single freaking book that you can find so you can understand your illness a little bit more. But also, pick up all those books out there that are talking about living with bipolar disorder. Because your bipolar disorder is different from somebody else's bipolar disorder. It is a chemical imbalance in the brain. No imbalance can be the same. No brain can be the same. Those textbooks out there are going to tell you everything possible about the illness. And that is from many, many people. Not just you. And not just me. And not just that person. It's gonna be different. Different for every single person. We often love to celebrate our similarities with things because it makes us feel comfortable. But we also have to remember our differences. Our differences are what separate us. Our differences are what make us us. So, people who have family members or friends who are living with bipolar disorder, remember, yes, those books are important and they are great, but the person in your life is not all of that. And attributing everything they do or say or all that jazz, it takes away their accountability. It takes away a piece of them when you do that. Thank you so much for joining me on my first episode of the Shek Check. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that whole, bum bum thing. Again, I did it again. I did it again. Man, why can't I stop the duh? I did it again. If you like what you saw, please just press the subscribe button below and more videos will be coming out soon. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves and take care of the other people who are taking care of themselves, because it's always a good thing.